Billionaire parties. The secret parties that people talk about behind closed doors and think are a little bit debaucherous, those parties that you don't know about. Some of the world's wealthiest people like throwing extravagant parties, spending a lot of time and money throwing elaborate parties for friends and family. Not only for having a good time, but they're throwing the most extravagant parties the world has ever seen for the simplest of reasons, parties that shape conspiracies. Every once in a while, the really rich get together under the most suspect conditions in the most covert way possible to perhaps discuss topics of world-changing magnitude. One of these events that inspires conspiracies is called Bohemian Grove, and it takes place in Northern California. This event is a secret annual retreat for influential people. No one knows for sure what goes on in Bohemian Grove, but if you believe that, the event representative claims it's nothing more than a place where people may get together to enjoy nature, music, and theater for 2 weeks. Every year in the month of July, powerful business people and politicians meet in the woods for a secret ceremony. A lot of alcohol led to important decisions. Even though the identities of the Grove's members have been kept secret, officials like George Bush Sr. and Jr. have been exposed as regular visitors to the secluded retreat throughout the years. Also, during the summer of 1968, it was said that Ronald Reagan made a deal with Richard Nixon not to run against him in the primary while the two men were mingling in the Grove. Politicians are well aware of the Grove, and former President Bill Clinton once said that it is a place where wealthy Republicans gather to strip down in front of redwood trees. Moreover, we're aware that world-altering events such as the early planning for the Manhattan Project took place at the Bohemian Grove. There's nothing quite like the fresh air of the woods to assist one in the process of formulating plans for weapons of mass devastation. I've heard that the Bohemian Grove isn't just full of camp songs and stories told around the campfire. Another meeting of the exceedingly rich that has inspired countless stories was the surrealism ball that was held by the Rothschild family. A family that's just oozing with conspiracy if you've never heard about the Rothschilds. Let me tell you, they are the concept of old money. They are an international banking and finance dynasty that has been around since the middle of the 18th century and has activities all over Europe. With so much money and power over so many years, conspiracy theories are inevitable. Not helping matters was the fact that in 1972, the Rothschilds hosted the most extravagant ball in history at the largest and lavish chateau in all of France, Chateau d'If. The entire building was converted into an interactive maze, but that wasn't eerie enough for the Rothschilds. When responding to their guests' every need, the servants and butlers were given instructions to act as though they were cats. The rooms were filled with taxidermied and stuffed animals, and even the plates were covered in animal furs. Salvador Dali most likely anticipated that photographs from the event would be made public, so he went ahead and prepared for the attendees some of the most horrifying fashion outfits that will keep you up at night. The Baroness Rothschild made an appearance wearing a golden deer's head with tears made of actual diamonds. What happened at this party is a mystery, although it is possible that it was the only one of its like thrown by the Rothschilds. However, since hosting wild parties is a significant part of being a billionaire, this was most likely not the case. After all, birthday celebrations were billionaires. Who doesn't adore birthdays? At the very least, once a year, everyone has the right and the obligation to let their hair down and enjoy the fact that they've survived it through another 365 days. And if there's one group that knows how to throw a birthday party, it's the super rich. You may have noticed that billionaire birthday parties sometimes make the news. That's because they don't just sit around with their friends and drink a keg of beer. Even if they did, it was usually in the middle of the Atlantic. Billionaire Ronald Perelman, for example, liked to have birthday celebrations the old-fashioned way on the coast of the Caribbean paradise of St. Barts aboard his massive 188-foot yacht. Guests at Perelman's birthday parties are typically other wealthy and famous guys. Some of his guests have included the billionaire of Microsoft, Paul Allen, as well as Denzel Washington and John Bon Jovi. If you want to talk about inviting renowned people to your parties, there's no way you can avoid mentioning the epic parties that was thrown by the unknown Malaysian money man Joe Low. Joe Low, before being accused of international money laundering, threw a pretty crazy 31st birthday celebration, using up to $1 billion in siphoned funds to construct what appeared to be an aircraft hangar on an empty plot of land. This was the kind of party where you had to know somebody who knows another person before you could even serve beverages at the party. And it was filled with celebrities like Kanye West, Kim Kardashian, and Jamie Foxx. Lo also invited a few well-known musicians for the event. He asked the Korean pop star Psy to sing Gangnam Style. Britney Spears is going to sing Happy Birthday, and Leonardo DiCaprio is going to rap. Sometimes billionaires don't just throw parties for themselves. They're also throwing it for the next generation of billionaires. I'm referring to Jay-Z and Beyoncé's children. Jay-Z and Beyoncé have a history of throwing extravagant parties for their children, starting with a $200,000 birthday bash for their daughter, Blue Ivy. Even when she was only 1 year old, they bought her a diamond-encrusted Barbie that cost $800,000 as a birthday present. If there's one other thing the rich and famous love to do, it's throw fantastic wedding parties. They enjoyed so much, in 2016, a Russian billionaire said Gudseriev married Khadija Utsakovs, and they gave exactly the kind of extravagant and outlandish party that'll make for a very uncomfortable divorce. Married, according to the son of billionaire oil mogul Mikhail Gudseriev, who claims that Gudseriev has a net worth of approximately $1.4 billion. With the assistance of his father, he planned and executed a wedding that was reportedly so extravagant that it cost as much as $1 billion. Transportation in a fleet of luxury vehicles like Rolls-Royces and Bentleys is one of the highlights of the wedding in Moscow. Other highlights include venues that are covered floor to ceiling in lavish displays of fresh flowers, and a bridal dress so adorned with diamonds and beads that it weighed around 25 pounds, and the bride had assistants walking. Of course, A-list celebrities were present. Without them, the event wouldn't be considered a party for billionaires. It was a very typical billionaire wedding, with guests being entertained by celebrities such as Jennifer Lopez, Sting, and Enrique Iglesias, with dessert consisting of a wedding cake with 9 tiers. The wedding of Napster founder and billionaire Sean Parker was similar in scale to the one described above, but it took place in the United States, in the redwoods of Big Sur, California. While it may not have cost $1 billion, it was one of the most extravagant celebrations the country had seen in recent memory. For the special day that would see the marriage of Sean Parker and Alexandre Lanas, workers erected an artificial pond, bridge, rock staircases, and false stone castle ruins. Each of the 364 guests, including celebrities like Emma Watson and Governor Gavin Newsom of California, wore a custom-designed costume fitting the wedding's fantasy theme. Even though guests were given bunnies to cuddle and less attractive creatures were grilled for supper and animal furs were draped over chairs and beds, nobody was into the whole ecological disregard theme of the wedding, and the newlyweds received a lot of negative feedback as a result. They were even spit on in the streets, prompting Sean Parker to pen a heartfelt letter of regret for the lavish 3-day, tens of thousands of dollar wedding celebration he had planned. You won't hear about every billionaire's party on the evening news because, contrary to popular belief, many wealthy people have secret parties that they don't want you to attend, or, at the absolute least, find out the nature of the festivities that take place there. One of these shady gatherings of extremely powerful people is the Kappa Beta Excellent Dinner, which takes place once a year at the Sun Regis Ballroom in New York City. This meal is a secret event that brings together some of the wealthiest and most influential guys on Wall Street. This event is not your typical dinner with black tie attire. Rather, it was organized to be a meeting of the wealthiest men in the financial industry. Imagine a college fraternity in which everyone dresses formally and gambles away their life savings. They laughed about the fact that they ruined our economy. They dressed up in wigs and gowns to make fun of the fact that they received a bailout from the US government and taxpayers. Kappa Beta Phi was established at the beginning of the Great Depression, and ever since its inception, it served as a forum in which some of the most prosperous people may come together, let their guard down, and joke about how much more prosperous they are than everyone else. In 2012, a reporter named Kevin Roos sneaked into the 80th anniversary Kappa Beta Phi dinner before Wilbur Ross, a politician with a lot of money, kicked him out. One Saudi prince named Faisal, who lived in a kingdom of about 10,000 extremely affluent princes, was known for keeping his law-breaking revelry on the hush-hush because of the country's extremely tight party restrictions. You could say that Faisal is a second-tier cadet princehood without having to worry about doing something dull like being king. He had a very lavish Halloween party, but the details were supposed to stay secret. Unfortunately for Faisal, a diplomatic cable showed that the party was against Saudi law and custom. There was a lot of alcohol and drugs at the party. The party looked like a scene from a nightclub. complete with lots of working girls, and some people were punished in Saudi Arabia for drug and alcohol charges. But not this time because, well, it's easy to get away with things when you're rich and powerful. Rich people get together for sex. Those lustful love salons and immoral alliances frequented by the wealthy and powerful are depicted accurately in movies. The Cannes Film Festival is a celebration of art and a gorgeous party, but for the Hollywood elite and wealthy business people from around the world, it's also a chance to meet and do business. When night falls during the Cannes Film Festival, the parties are the sort of wild you'd term ludicrous in an X-rated movie. At the event, hundreds of working women congregate to sell their wares. I'm talking about high-end call girls here, the kind that may make up to $40,000 per night, as one Lebanese businessman told a Hollywood reporter. During the festival, there are usually 30 or 40 luxury yachts docked in the bay. Women, drugs, and alcohol flood every boat. So, let's just say that getting some shut-eye isn't a high priority. Evidently, this has been going on for the past 60 years, right under our eyes. So, what do you think of these billionaire parties? Any of which you wish you could attend? If you're curious in the ways in which these wealthy individuals spend their money, click the video on the screen.